reality isn't what it seems. You've felt it before, those eerie moments where everything lines up too perfectly, like the universe is whispering directly to you. A name you haven't heard in years suddenly appears 3 times in a single day. A number keeps showing up wherever you look. You think of someone, and moments later, they call. These aren't random. These are synchronicities, glitches in the fabric of reality, or clues left behind in a cosmic treasure hunt. And by the end of this video, you'll see them everywhere. Welcome to Synchronicity Signals, where we explore coincidences that aren't coincidences, diving deep into the mysterious connections that weave through our everyday lives. So what are synchronicities? Some say they're just chance, statistical noise. Others, including world-renowned psychologist Carl Jung, believe they're meaningful coincidences, evidence that reality isn't as random as we think. That beneath everything, an invisible force is at work, aligning events in ways we can't yet understand. And here's where it gets even stranger. Most people ignore these signs. They shrug them off, missing the messages hidden in plain sight. But once you start paying attention, you unlock something. A different way of seeing. A new path starts unfolding before you. By the end of this journey, you'll have the tools to recognize and interpret these hidden messages in your own life. The first clue: numbers. If you think numbers are just lifeless digits, think again. Because if the universe had a language, this would be it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Some numbers aren't just numbers. They follow you, showing up on clocks, receipts, license plates, patterns that feel too precise to be chance. You wake up at 3:33 a.m. The total at the coffee shop is $11. 11. You glance at your phone, and it's always 4:44. Coincidence or a message? There's a reason so many people experience this. These repeating number patterns, often called angel numbers, have been studied, tracked, and interpreted for centuries. Ancient cultures believed numbers held vibrational power, a hidden structure to the universe. And modern spiritualists agree, when you start seeing repeating numbers, it means something is shifting in your reality. Take 1111, the most well-known of them all. Many believe it's a wake-up call, a sign that your thoughts are manifesting faster than ever. That whatever you're focused on is about to become real. Some even claim that glancing at 11 is a nudge from another dimension, a reminder that you're on the right path, or that it's time to change direction. Skeptical? Let's talk about real stories. One woman started seeing 444 everywhere during a stressful time in her life. She later discovered that in numerology, 444 is linked to stability, protection, and guidance from unseen forces. Not long after, a job opportunity fell into her lap, one she never applied for but turned out to be exactly what she needed. Another man kept encountering 222 on signs, street addresses, even timestamps on random videos. Later, he realized that every time it appeared, he was on the verge of making a major life decision. 222, in numerology, signifies balance and alignment. Was it a cosmic green light, or just his mind searching for patterns? Here's the thing: numbers have been used for centuries to encode meaning into the universe itself. The Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, sacred geometry, these aren't just mathematical oddities. They shape everything, from nature's spirals to the structure of galaxies. And when specific numbers start appearing just for you, it might be worth paying attention. But numbers are just the beginning. Because sometimes the universe doesn't just show you a pattern, it throws you inside one. Have you ever felt like time folded in on itself? That eerie sensation of having already lived this exact moment. That's not just in your head. And the reason why will make you question everything. You walk into a room you've never been in before, but everything feels disturbingly familiar. A conversation unfolds, and you know exactly what the other person is about to say. Your stomach drops. You've been here before, but you haven't, right? Déjà vu. A glitch in the matrix. A past life memory. A quantum slip. Science tries to explain it as a misfire in the brain. Your neurons processing the present moment as if it were a memory. But here's where it gets weird. Some déjà vu moments aren't just familiar. They're prophetic. People have reported experiencing déjà vu right before major life events, accidents, relationships, breakthroughs. Almost as if some part of them already knew what was coming. And there are even stranger cases where déjà vu doesn't just last seconds but minutes, time loops that feel inescapable. Take the story of a man who experienced the same conversation 3 separate times. Each time, he was able to predict what was going to happen, down to exact words and actions. The first time he chalked it up to déjà vu. The second time, he got chills. The third time, he started to panic. Why was he reliving the same scene? Or the case of a woman who had a déjà vu dream. She saw herself standing in a bookstore, holding a specific book. The next day, she walked into a shop she'd never been to, picked up a random book, and it was the exact one from her dream. Could déjà vu be evidence that time isn't linear? That our consciousness skips ahead, catching glimpses of the future before we arrive there? Some researchers suggest that déjà vu could be linked to parallel timelines, moments where our reality briefly aligns with an alternate version of itself. Here's what you need to know. Déjà vu often happens when you're about to make a significant life decision. Some believe it's a signal from your higher self, nudging you toward a certain path, or warning you away from it. And when déjà vu is paired with another synchronicity, like seeing the same number or hearing a phrase repeated by different people, it might be time to pay attention. Because déjà vu is just one way the universe sends messages. The next, it speaks through reality itself. And once you understand how, you'll start bending reality in ways you never imagined. Reality isn't solid. It bends, shifts, and rearranges itself in ways most people never notice. But sometimes, the universe makes itself known through coincidences too precise to be coincidences, and if you know how to recognize them, they can change everything. Think about this. You're thinking of an old friend you haven't spoken to in years. A few hours later, they randomly text you. You brush it off until it happens again and again with different people. Or you have a specific song stuck in your head, one you haven't heard in forever. You walk into a store and it's playing over the speakers. This is synchronicity, and it's one of the clearest signs that reality is responding to you. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of all time, believed that synchronicities were evidence of a deeper connection between the mind and the universe. He called it a causal connecting principle, events that are meaningfully linked, even if there's no logical reason for them to be. Skeptics say it's just probability, that given enough time, coincidences are bound to happen. But what if they're not just happening to you, but happening because of you? The law of attraction states that our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape our reality. Quantum physics suggests that the observer affects the observed. If thoughts and emotions have energy, is it really that far-fetched to think they could bend reality in ways we don't fully understand? Here's where things get even crazier. Some people use synchronicity as a guide. They treat it like a cosmic GPS, a way to confirm whether they're on the right path. If something keeps showing up, an image, a word, a song, a symbol, it might not be random. It might be a sign. Consider the man who kept seeing butterflies everywhere, on billboards, in art, even a real one landing on his arm. Later, he found out his grandmother, who had recently passed, used to say she'd come back as a butterfly. Or the woman who kept hearing the phrase, "take the leap," from different people, in books, on social media. Days later, she was offered an opportunity that required her to move across the country. She took the leap, and it changed her life. Coincidences or signs, you decide. But here's the key. Synchronicities increase the more you pay attention to them. Once you acknowledge them, they don't stop. They multiply. Reality starts communicating with you. And it doesn't stop at numbers, déjà vu, or coincidences. Because sometimes the universe doesn't just send signs, it sends full-blown visions. And some of them have predicted the future in ways no one can explain. You wake up in a cold sweat. The dream felt too real, like you actually lived it. A conversation, a place, a moment that hasn't happened yet. And then, days, weeks, or even years later, it does. Dreams that predict reality. Some call them premonitions, some call them messages from the subconscious, and others believe there's something far bigger, a direct connection to the fabric of time itself. There are countless documented cases of people dreaming about events before they happen. In 1912, several passengers on the Titanic reported having vivid nightmares about drowning days before they set sail. In 1865, Abraham Lincoln confided in his close friend about a chilling dream where he saw himself in a casket just weeks before he was assassinated. But it's not just historical figures. This happens to everyday people all the time. One woman dreamt about a plane crash. She saw the exact flight number, location, and details. She woke up disturbed and decided to cancel her flight. The next day, that exact plane went down. A man dreamed about a stranger who would become important in his life. A few months later, he met that exact person, right down to the clothes they were wearing in the dream. The question is, how is this possible? Science argues that dreams are just the brain processing information, a mix of memories, emotions, and subconscious thoughts. But if that's true, how do we explain dreams that show events before they happen, with details that couldn't have been known? Some researchers suggest that dreams might be tapping into a quantum field of information, a place where past, present, and future already exist, and for brief moments, we access it. Others believe dreams are messages from a higher intelligence, trying to guide us towards certain outcomes or warn us of danger. And here's the wild part. You can train yourself to recognize these messages. Keeping a dream journal, looking for repeating themes, and noticing when a dream leaves an unusually strong emotional impact can help you distinguish between random subconscious noise and true premonitions. But the biggest sign of all, when a dream connects with another synchronicity in your waking life. If you dream about someone and then randomly run into them, or if an object from your dream suddenly appears in reality, pay attention. Because at that point, the universe isn't just whispering, it's speaking directly to you. And sometimes, it doesn't just send symbols, numbers, or dreams. Sometimes, it sends people. The exact person you need at the exact moment you need them, as if they were placed there by design. What if those encounters weren't random at all? What if they were always meant to happen? Some people enter your life like clockwork, precisely when you need them. They show up at your lowest point, your turning point, or right before something life-changing happens. Maybe it's a stranger who gives you advice that shifts your entire perspective. A mentor who appears when you're lost. A partner who steps in at exactly the right moment. Why does this happen? Think about it. How many times have you met someone in a way that seemed too perfect to be random? A last-minute plan leads you to meeting someone who completely changes your path. You decide to go left instead of right, and that one small decision introduces you to a person who alters the course of your life. This is synchronicity in human form. The right people, at the right time, for the right reason. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon, calling it meaningful chance encounters. The idea that we unconsciously attract and align with people who match our energy, thoughts, and needs, even before we're fully aware of them. But some believe it goes deeper than that. Certain spiritual traditions suggest that people are placed in our lives intentionally, as if an unseen force is orchestrating our meetings. Some call it fate. Some call it destiny. Others believe in soul contracts, the idea that before we're born, we agree to meet certain people at specific points in our lives to push us forward, challenge us, or change us. Real stories prove how real this phenomenon is. One woman was struggling with a major decision, whether to quit her job and follow her passion. She walked into a coffee shop, sat next to a stranger, and overheard them talking about taking risks and pursuing dreams. Something about the conversation felt like a direct message to her. A few days later, she put in her resignation. That one encounter gave her the confirmation she needed. Another man was dealing with overwhelming grief after losing a loved one. He found himself in an airport, randomly talking to an older woman who shared a near, identical story of loss and how she found peace. That conversation changed everything for him. He never saw her again, but the timing was too perfect to ignore. Coincidence? Or was the universe moving pieces behind the scenes? Here's what's even crazier. You can attract the right people consciously. The moment you become clear about what you want or need, you'll start noticing the right individuals appearing in your life, as if they were waiting for you the whole time. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's something bigger. And once you start recognizing the synchronicities in your relationships, your dreams, your numbers, and your life events, you'll realize you were never moving through life alone. The universe has been guiding you the entire time. But what does this all mean? Are synchronicities just a glitch in the matrix? Or are they evidence of something much bigger? If you've made it this far, you already know the answer. You've felt it. Now, the real question is, what are you going to do with it? So what does it all mean? Are synchronicities just coincidences, weird tricks of the mind, or are they something more, evidence of an invisible pattern guiding our lives, a secret language of the universe waiting to be decoded? Most people go through life asleep. They dismiss the repeating numbers, ignore the strange timing of events, brush off the impossible coincidences. But once you start paying attention, you wake up. You begin to see the web connecting everything, the way thoughts shape reality, the way people, places, and moments align in ways that seem too perfect to be random. This isn't just philosophy. It's physics, psychology, and ancient wisdom all converging on one undeniable truth. We are part of something bigger. Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious, a deeper intelligence that links all things. Quantum mechanics suggests that consciousness plays a role in shaping reality itself. And spiritual traditions for thousands of years have taught that the universe speaks to us, if we're willing to listen. So here's the real question. What if you started listening? What if, instead of dismissing synchronicities, you followed them? What if you treated them as signals, clues leading you toward the path you're meant to walk? Because here's the secret. The more you notice them, the more they appear. The moment you start seeing synchronicities for what they really are, signposts in the fabric of reality, they become impossible to ignore. So the next time you see that repeating number, the next time déjà vu grips you, the next time a person walks into your life at exactly the right moment, don't brush it off. Pay attention. Because the universe is speaking to you. And the question is, are you ready to listen?